Hello, hello. Oh my gosh. So today is a recap of the last and final day of the Northwest Tarot Symposium uh, event. I am so tired. I was so tired when I got in from today because it ended early. It ended at 4 instead of like the normal like 6, 7, or 8. And I was so tired, I couldn't really do much else. I walked into my room, I put my things down, peed because I had to go. I had to be like a racehorse, and then I came and laid down on the bed, and I ate a salad, and it just didn't move. I didn't want to move. I didn't want to think. I needed quiet. I turned on the TV for a quick minute because I just wanted something mindless. And so Avatar was on, so that was fun to kind of just have in the background. And then it started getting to like shoot 'em up. It was just like, okay, too much, too much, too much. So I ended up asking my wife if she's available for a quick phone call, which she always is, but she also ships, so I didn't want to interrupt her shipping. But she made time for me in the middle of her shipping, so that was sweet. But we ended up talking for like an hour and a half, just downloading everything that had happened in the day, because she gets all of my personality. She gets all of my crassness. She gets all of my sarcastic, my humor, my the less than delicate elements of my personality. Because like when we are presenting or when we're talking with others, we're presenting our best face, and we're wanting to be a kinder, gentler version of ourselves. However, like behind closed doors, then like you take your bra off and you're swinging it around, you're taking shots, you're sleeping until 5 p.m. or what have you. That's the version of me my wife gets to know. So yeah, her and I just basically chatted for like an hour and a half as I downloaded the day. So thank you, Melissa, always for actually helping me recharge through that process of like sharing everything that had gone on. It helped me defrazzle and kind of re-knit myself back together, because I'm thoroughly an entertainer. I lived for dance. I was in ballet for a million years when I was younger. I can be on a stage. I don't really get nervous in those kind of environments. However, I'm still introverted, so I still need to recharge by being alone and being in quiet space, hiding like the hermit. Like my life card is the hermit, and my number is 9. My path number is 9. So it's just like my birthday is on the 9th. Like, so it's just, I have a lot of like, I need to be on my own. So luckily, this kind of environment provides that with the room, and so it's a great big old space, comfortable bed. I had some food that I picked up at Target yesterday. I was able to eat, have some veggies, and basically chat with my wife until I felt a little bit better. Her and I were doing the math on basically like, why am I so exhausted? And primarily because I'm pretty certain in the last 3 days, I've had about 8 hours of sleep. Not even 8 hours. I think a good 6 or 7 hours of sleep, because I'm for certain I got 2 hours of sleep day 1. Day 2 was, I think, about 3.5 or 4. Because I'm a weirdo, I'm a night out, and I want to be like, part of my I'm doing stuff for myself is being up late. And what was, so I'm still tired. So we had, let me count. I'm losing my mind now. So from Thursday night to Friday morning, so that was day 1, that was 2 hours. So from Friday night to Saturday morning, that was about 3 hours. I didn't count yesterday. I'm almost certain I was kind of collapsing around 1, and we got up again at 7:30. That's right. So what? 6 hours. Okay. So 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 hours of sleep in 3 days. So my bad. I almost got dramatic. So yeah, we had almost no sleep. Well, for me, that's no sleep. I'm an 8, 9, 10 hour girl, like a day. That is my sweet spot, is about 8, 9 to 10 hours. So to have 11 hours over 3 days is torturous for this one. So yeah, and I had no sleep for me, and I had very little water comparison to the 64 some ounces that I do daily, and that's not including teas and coffees and the like. So I know for a fact I refilled my water bottle twice. I don't know why I'm rambling at this point. Whole thing is, I didn't nearly take care of myself in the way that I should have. But it's mostly because you're busy. You're excited. You don't want to have to pee all the time. You have a different routine. You don't remember. I also have ADHD. I don't remember anything. When was the last time I ate? When was the last time I slept? When was the last time I drank? I don't know. That's another reason why I have a wife, because she's always so considerate about that. She's throwing food at me, saying you must drink something. Here's some tea. Here's some coffee. Here's some water. So, without a, God, I feel like a child without a chaperone. I melt. I know how to take care of myself, and obviously I do. But yeah, Melissa, us could benefit from you. So just saying. And the only reason that my hair is down is just because like the pressure of my little headband. I don't know why. I wear my hair up all the time because I hate it in my face. But today I don't give a shit. I am so done. I am so done. So hair is down, no pressure on my head. It's whatever. But I do still want to go over there we go. I still want to go over what happened today. So we'll start at the beginning. Opening ceremonies was at 8:30. And we had the intro. We had one of the giveaways. Then we got started with James Devine. And he is funny. And the reason I say for me, he's funny because he's also from Seattle. And I've run into his like online presence because of course we do market research. Of course we want to know who's in the environment and who's in our area and, these kind of things. I feel like it's part of my job as a practitioner in this space to know the other people who are in this space as well. And I know that James, is in this too. Awesome. So it was really, really cool. And I also saw him last year. I didn't get to meet him. And I didn't really get to meet him this year, but I feel like I'm pretty sure he saw my face. This is about all we got. But where was I going with that? Met him. He started with this kind of just this music dance number. Not literally a dance number, but everybody was standing and just kind of vibing, getting all excited. And his work, I believe, if I remember correctly, I'm going to actually move to there you go, the classes themselves. James Devine, where'd you go? No, I really liked that class. There we go. No. Oh, yes. Reclaiming the power of symbolism over fatalism. And it was basically a quick little rundown on how we became so fatalistic as readers and how this whole how readers, or sometimes there's this stereotype and fear that when you go to see a tarot reader or go to get your palm read, there might be this conversation about how unfortunate and unlucky and how someone's going to die and how all these things are going to go happen. And a lot of readers nowadays are very I'm not a doom and gloom reader. I distance myself from that, for instance. Me too, because I don't want to have somebody sit with me and just get this honey, you don't die, girl. I mean, we all gonna, right? But, nobody needs to be presented with that. And it's unfortunate how much effect we can have that if we're not skilled or practiced or ethical, we can have adverse effects on people's lives. And readers really, 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 really need to be cognizant and aware of that and be very deliberate about the language in which we use, about how we connect with our clients and how we invest our space, our time, our energy, our hearts into the circumstances. And I literally wrote an oath for myself that was based on, I believe, the Hippocratic oath that doctors take, which has this whole intro. If you want a copy of it, totally let me know. It has this whole intro, but basically ends with, first, do no harm. And ultimately, that's what my work does. I do not want to do any harm. And my prayers are based around that. My oath that I kind of repeat, I kind of have it on a small schedule where it's just all right, once a month we revisit it. I rewrite it out. And it's just a commitment that I've made to myself that I have these gifts. And so long as I keep this promise, my gifts will maintain the reciprocal nature of the work will maintain, and ultimately my goal is to do no harm, and that is so important to me. But sorry, to circle back to my meds have worn off, to circle back to the original point was that one of the things that I learned, as James had mentioned, let me see if I can do this justice. So he shared with us that in Romani tradition, before there was the exodus, is kind of the way that I would think about it, of the culture from the fortune telling, from the Hindu spirituality, back where it kind of originated from. At least this is how it was presented to me. Hinduism was really good about solving the problems. You would have the finding out the misfortunes, and then you'd pair it with the prayers that were said to remedy the problems. And this praying or these rituals or these processes were created to offset the problems that your circumstances, that life, that situations just brought for you. So now that they had basically left the vicinity, you got the tendency to share the unfortunate, share the poor experiences, but it doesn't have the opportunity to be fed and nurtured a method to resolve that. So there's this separation between these sides that used to exist together, and that's how they were developed, was existing together, which to me made total sense, and I took notes, and that was perfect. That made sense. Anyway, I loved this presentation in all reality. I mean, because he was funny, he was quippy. He talked about a lot of these, what would you call it, like typically poorly noted cards. I don't like to say negative or positive because to me that's just a judgment, but cards that are typically seen in a less than ideal light. Let's talk like Tower cards or Three of Swords cards or Death card, those kind of things. The cards that are usually seen in that kind of light, how they can be reframed to have a different connotation to it, so that it's not just doom and gloom, the whole world's coming to an end, flip a table, but it can be like, all right, so now we get to decide. Now we get to choose, for instance. So that was a good one. I really, really enjoyed myself in that. I took tons of notes. I was grateful for it. The next one after that was really cool, and that was Charles Harrington, Dancing the Shadows. And I really liked his presentation style because he was funny, he was lighthearted, you can tell he's an entertainer. Like, I would love to have the ability, like, if I present, when I present, or if I do presentations, that I have that funny, relaxed approach so that people stay interested, stay engaged, and do the work. And both of their presentations reminded me a lot about telling people what to do in a presentation, especially when there's activity involved, telling people what we're going to do, transitioning people through the presentation, telling people in advance what we're going to do so that they can know what to expect. Because so often did I experience this tendency to not talk about what's happening next. And I'm not the only one that kind of finds that disjointing, because it's like, it's a process. What are we doing now? What are we doing now? What are we going into now? And when they misstumble, it's disjointing, and it's like, wait. And it also, I feel like it also loses the credibility or the confidence that someone has in their work or in their presentation. So if you present, maybe talk about, hey, what we're going to cover today. Great. Now we're going to do this. All right. Activity. Let's do step 1 instead of just giving us the activity. Like, tell us what we're doing. Tell us why we're doing it, and tell us the suggested outcome that we should be having. Just saying. Note to other presenters. That would really be beneficial. That would really be beneficial. After that, one of the presenters was actually missing. It was... Chris, I believe they said his name was Ornero. How to approach reading as an interview. I was actually looking forward to that one, so that's a bummer to me, but that's okay. For whatever reasons, he wasn't able to attend. So one of the other presenters presented a different presentation, which was cute and adorable and made me so freaking happy. It was all about superpowers and how you can look at tarot through the lens of superpowers. Very cool. Not just psychic superpowers, not like that, but more like pyrokinesis and shape-shifting and phasing and time dilation, all those things. So we had a little exercise. It was cute. Made me laugh. A couple of people at my table were just happy and giddy and about how this could be totally useful for fiction writing. So it was adorable. That went well. The last one that we went to was, it was either going to be Tracy, who's talking about crystals, which I really just was not interested, just because I love my stones, but I know my stones. I'm not really interested in more than that. So I have the other option of understanding trauma through tarot, wandering through the minor arcana. That one. Irene Lowe was her name. So Irene had the sweetest voice, and you could tell she was just a softer personality. Excellent, excellent presentation setup. So I didn't have any like critiques surrounding that. What I did have a hard time with, so I'm going to sandwich this, right? I did have a hard time with what sounded like a lack of authority in her own work and using very subjective language. And it might have been just the topic. Because for me, it's like, if we talk about trauma, I'm a little bit, I'm not the one to go to because I'm kind of a brute force kind of person, and I coax my people out of their stuff so that they can then continue to make progressive change. I don't want my people my clients, so the ones that find me, we are not looking to sit in our trauma. We're looking to traverse through it, to build from it and move on. Now, it's just our approach. It's not that theirs is any better or worse or different, or it is different. It's not that theirs better or mine's better. It's just we have two different approaches, and those two usually don't show up in the same room often, or at least not in my experience. But the experience that I was having, or that I was having in the room, was just the lack of confidence in the expression of the work, and a lot of the way it feels to me language. And when she would talk about her own work, and then a question would be asked about her work, and then she would say, I don't know. I expect her to be the expert here. I want her to know. That's why the question's being asked. And so it just kind of lost a little bit of credibility in that regard. But I did get so many useful subjects that I need to further dig into, and topics that I need to dig into, because I do have clients that have trauma responses. I'm sure. See, I'm of the. Sorry, my my bra's getting all weird. I'm of the perspective that life is traumatic, right? So everyone has trauma. Everyone has these experiences that that hurt, that are painful, that hijack us. And I love that she kept using that term, like being hijacked, because I understood that, because sometimes you can't control what is happening. But I think the work that I try to do is figure out how to gain control so that you can use it productively instead of allowing it to continue to hijack you. And I understand everybody needs a different approach. And the way that I walk with my clients is one way, and the way that she was showing was a different, softer, gentler approach that I wouldn't necessarily adopt, but I gained some really excellent vocabulary, some language, some compassion that I could bring to my sessions that I didn't have prior. So even if I wasn't exactly thrilled with the presentation on a whole, I did find things that I could take home with me. And I feel like that's always important. That's the benefit. That's the takeaway of having gone to anything. So I try to be that kind of person where it's like, it does not matter how good, bad, indifferent, whatever it is, there's still something in there that I did not know previously, and I should be able to walk away with something. I don't see why I couldn't. And that was my focus. But yeah. And it ended with the closing ceremony at 4. And then we went to our rooms. I gave hugs. I exchanged numbers. I told so many people to stay in touch. We made semi-business arrangements, like, let me know when you have these things, because I would totally love to throw them in my packages. Keep an eye out for vintage radios. I'd love to, make arrangements to buy them. Like we all, I had a lot of connections that were made. I met a theater major who was boisterous. She was elaborate. She gave great big old hugs. Super, like, I just want to drink with her one day. Like, I almost don't think it'd be a good idea, but it seems like it'd be an absolute riot to drink with her. So one of these days, her and I are gonna have to meet back up. Her name was Kate. We're gonna have to meet back up. I'm gonna have to drink with her, and she's gonna tell me all of her secrets. And I bet you anything, I'll probably end up accidentally seeing her naked. She just seems like one of those people. She's so free, and oh my gosh, what I would give to have that kind of level of freedom, kind of just knitted into my DNA. So go you, honey. I'm proud that you exist. I met two Nicoles. They both have my number. Very interesting sweet peas, and they actually are working together on a project that I hope to be able to support later on. I met so many other amazing people. I did readings with so many amazing people, and I helped. I feel like I helped one person. It was a very quick interaction, but I think just the presence of her working a situation out on the cards, just 3 cards, with me. I think it was just her sounding board, but that sounding board allowed her to make a connection that she hadn't made all weekend. And the fact that she could leave this event a little bit lighter, I don't care when it happened. I'm just glad it did. And so I was so proud that that happened for her, because, that would have been kind of sucky if you thought you were coming to this event to get some sort of, breakthrough or healing or work done, and it didn't happen. So luckily, luckily, second to last session, it happened for her. So, I'd have to give her a hug. But yeah, I met so many beautiful souls, and I'm so grateful for all of that. I'm totally coming next year. That's happening. And I'm going to apply to be a presenter next year. I have some ideas of topics that I can do, and that just gives me all year to kind of prepare and get into the mind space and get into topic ideas and see what's beneficial, because I've been to 3 of these now. I kind of have an idea as to what's interesting and what might be useful, and so we all have something to bring to the table, and I look forward to figuring out what I can bring to that table. So that's going to be fun. I did some shopping, but not a whole lot, actually. I was in the market for a pendant for my wife, and I didn't find one. They had a lot of jewelry and a lot of other things. I ended up getting her some teas that I was super excited to get a hold of. A old mentor of mine, Grace Sequoia from Wild Dryad. Oh my God, hold on. What's her business name? It's on this box. Wild. I'm going to find it. Dryad. Dryad. Okay, Wild Dryad. Grace Sequoia, gracious, sweet soul. If you can ever get yourself in front of that person, she's a woman who sees you, you've ever been around someone that just makes you feel like home? Not like at home, but like just being in your own skin is home. She's that person. But she designed and published a tarot deck, which I'm proud and impressed with, that has so many layers to it. I can't even do it justice, but just to show, they're cards that you color in for yourself. So see if we can get some light to it. And it's all matte, but it's super, super detailed. And she has some other elements to it that she did deliberately, like not having gender expressions in the card, not having religious connotations of the cards. And I think there's 80 plus cards in here. And I even went and bought some watercolor brush tip markers just for this deck, because I got the guidebook, which is all nice. Oh, here you go. Guidebook that's quite beefy. So this thing, look at that. And it gives you the option, or because I'm a writer, I do this, and she's obviously a writer too. So you have the ability, if you want, to color this page, learn all about your card, and if you have any notes that you want to make, you can just jot them down on the back or on the side of the card that you're working on. And I'm all about notes, because trust, when I'm studying something, there's post-its, there's highlighters, there's tabs, there's notations, there's added sheets, because you got to tip in something, you wrote too much, so that's how it goes. But yeah, I got a package of watercolor brush tip markers, because I apparently am going to be a coloring fool, and I'm just proud to have been able to support her project. I'm proud to have seen her. And I don't know. I just love that woman. So if you don't know Grace Sequoia, look her up. She's amazing. I was about to say she's bomb.com, and I'm like, I wouldn't call her that. I would call her amazing. All right. Well, Sweet Peas, I think that is it. I can't remember anything right offhand. That didn't happen. I didn't win a thing this year. I didn't win a thing last year. I didn't win a thing the year before it. So what I'm gonna say is year 4 will be it for me. I did, however, win. Not even win. We learned a divination of when you're in a group. It's a divination process. So when you're in a group and you've made a wish, because this is winter solstice and it's a divination that you do during winter solstice, what you do is you take off one of your shoes and you start at one end of the room and you put your shoes heel to toe, one shoe off of someone's foot. Everyone in the room, everyone takes off one shoe. You line your shoes up heel to toe from one end of the room out the door, and whoever's toe, boot, or shoe crosses the threshold first, they get their wish. Like, whatever that confirmed, whatever that word is. And my boot was it. So it was fun. It was a big old room and we're having so much fun. And you would never think that just putting your feet or your foot, like just one boot, and doing this whole thing with 30 other people would be so much fun. But everybody was like, this is the coolest thing I've done all day. And it was so simple, but it was so satisfying and gratifying when I got my boot and I won and I made my wish, and somebody asked me, what was your wish? And I didn't tell them because I want my wish. That's my superstition. I want my wish to come true. So I kept it to myself. But yeah, anyway, I think that's going to be it. I am exhausted. I just spent 2 hours resting, maybe an hour working. I'm kind of in a spot where I can, my hair looks a mess, where I can get back to work on Monday and not be behind on anything. Checkouts tomorrow at noon. I think I'm just going to go ahead and head straight home. I was debating about going to one of the metaphysical stores here, and I'm like, I don't have it in me. So yeah, tomorrow I'm going to wake up maybe around 10ish, have breakfast, and then head out. I'm kind of halfway packed now. We'll shower and take makeup off before bed. But other than that, yeah, that's it. So yeah, Northwest Tarot Symposium 2023 is a close, and this girl is worn out. So if I could tell you to do anything about attending this event, first thing, sleep. Sleep. Allow yourself to get the sleep that you need. If you're good about it, great. If you're a night owl, it's going to be tough because you have to get up. You're getting up early. So either decide that you're not doing the morning meetings, or just go to sleep. Just go to sleep. Go to the morning meetings, go to sleep, because the whole thing is an experience, right? So get up early and go. Make sure you feed yourself if possible. I know it's super fun to have new foods, but if possible, take your behind to the grocery store or something before you kind of come into the hotel and just get a few things that you usually have at home. And I feel like that will help your stomach, your comforts, feeling like you're still getting the nutrition that you're used to, at least around lunchtime, that kind of thing. That I think would be a big win. I would also suggest that you do things that are new. Because number 2, I did the things that I liked, and it ended up being a little bit boring for me because I ended up realizing that my knowledge base was sometimes a little bit further than the presentation was. And so I just kind of felt like, oh, that was fun, And so this time I just did everything that was new. And with a few exceptions that I kind of made impulsive decisions at the time, totally worth it. Do stuff that is new. So for instance, let's give you an example because I'm insane. What was it? We had T. Susan Chang, The Heart of the Question, Simple Spread Design in You, or Madame Pamita, The Magic of Slavic Winter Divinations. I did that one because I have no clue. I had no clue about winter Slavic divinations. That's awesome. And so I learned so much. And when you're learning, it feels like you're getting something out of it. You get to converse with other sweet peas who are learning as well. It's so much fun. So yeah, if I could just say Thank you, Michelle. Thank you, Roger. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Anthony. Thank you, James. Thank you, all the people. Who else? Thank you. Oh, great. Not yes, Grace. Thank you, Grace. Thank you, Chris Ann. Thank you. Oh my gosh, the neuroscientist who I still like remember how stunned I was when he was talking about how he studies the brains of snails and fish. Okay, that's awesome. It's just not something that you expect to hear at a tarot conference. And oh, and that he does drag, and his name is Le Brat. I'm like, we must be the same age. So I was so proud of that. But yeah, attend, go. It's fun. You'll enjoy it. It's 30 minutes in, yo. Okay. You have a great night. I'm going to get ready for bed. Okay?